What do you know about this year's playoffs? A lot. But you don't need a lot of brain sense to know that this wildcard weekend was straight up most lackluster playoff games that I've seen in a while. So I'm going to go over every NFL game that took place this weekend and make my picks for the divisional round. Kicking things off on Saturday's games, we have the Chargers getting obliterated by Houston. Yeah, there is nothing good coming out of this game if you are a Chargers fan. 2 field goals in the first half, followed by an absolute snooze fest until the end of the second quarter, where Houston activated their nitro boosters. That's literally the best description on how this played out. And calling Houston's defense dominant is an understatement. Like, where was this against Baltimore 2 weeks ago? I mean, I guess all it takes is to have an absolute beatdown just to be an absolute unit. I mean, the offense did pretty good out there. In fact, they pretty much started the momentum from the end of the first half. I mean, once CJ Stroud, Joe Mixon, and Nico Collins started moving, it was pretty much over. The Chargers offense, on the other hand, Herbert did not have a good game, like at all. Even with his interior O-line and receivers outside of Lab McConkey, you can't make any excuses this time. He is just plain terrible. Anything that can go wrong, went wrong. Solid year, but sour ending. Moving on to Baltimore versus Pittsburgh. I mean, everybody saw this coming in. This is going to be a blowout. So these guys are pretty much going to get a pass for this week's performance of I mean, the Ravens could have won this game entirely from their running game. I did say this game was going to be close, but after halftime being down 21-0, it was pretty much over. 0-6 in the playoffs. But you keep your winning record streak going. So no harm, no foul. But in all seriousness, something major has got to change. Moving on to early Sunday, we got Buffalo obliterating the Broncos. And wow. And not the good kind of wow. Like bad wow. Bad wow. I thought this was going to be a shootout after Denver's first score. Turns out Denver really can't compete with the top tier teams. But the one thing that I nailed about this matchup was playoff experience. The Bills have that by a mile. Looking at Denver's entire season, pretty good. I mean, Bo Nix is your quarterback for the future. And with how the AFC West is going to look in the future, I wouldn't bet on the Chiefs to take another AFC West title. That's my bold pick for next year. Moving on to the late afternoon, we got the Eagles taking down Green Bay.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Yeah, I only wanted Green Bay to win so the Rams don't have to face Philly next round if you were to win against the Vikings. So much for that scenario. I mean, you can't expect to win any games if your quarterback is throwing 3 picks. I mean, I was eyeing Mayfield to have the Brett Favre stat line. Turns out it was Jordan Love this whole time. My biggest takeaway is that Philly's offense needs to step up the next couple of weeks. Their defense bailed you out big time, and now they lost Nakobe Dean. Their offense is still good. It's just a 12-point gap for that type of wildcard game. It's just a little concerning. That's just my take. Moving on to the Commanders versus the Bucks. The one pick I got right. This was going to be competitive. This was going to be going down to the wire. This could have been anyone's game. When it came down to the game-winning drive, Jaden Daniels delivered. He has the clutch factor. But man, I thought the Bucks were going to be a dark horse this year. I mean, they were the only big threat for the 2 top-seeded teams in the NFC. This was overall a good season, but the big moves they need to make this offseason is prioritize the defense. And finishing off this round, we got the Rams spanking the Vikings. And spanked is an understatement. I mean, this is without a doubt one of the best performances I've seen out of this defensive group. I mean, 2 picks, 9 sacks. 9. In fact, this is the first season without AD, and our defensive front is still this effective, even more effective from last year. I mean, this just makes me sick. If AD was on that D-line, bro, that is committing war crimes. I mean, this defensive front is gonna be big in the next couple of years. And speaking of 9s, our quarterback Stafford is 18-3 in the months of December, January, and February. Definition of clutch. So clutch, I propose a new nickname for this veteran. I give you the Winter Soldier. Because when that football's in his hands, you already know this, Bucky. Dudes, armed and dangerous! But for the Vikings, try not to end your season in a heartbreak challenge impossible. I mean, every year, it's a heartbreak. 14-3 when you were expected to be 5-12 at the beginning of the season. Sam Darnold looking like a franchise QB that was expected to get a large payday. I have never seen a dude lose that much in a span of 2 weeks. Straight up down the drain. I mean, you can take Sam out of New York, but you can't take New York out of Sam. He just looks so lost out there, whether he couldn't trust his own receivers or seeing ghosts down there. I mean, the Lions really gave the Rams a playbook on how to beat the Vikings. You give Sam Darnold pressure in the face, the whole ship of the offense. I mean, where do you go from here? I mean, the good news is you got McCarthy for next season, but what are you guys going to do with Sam? I mean, are you going to let him walk? Are you going to extend the guy? I mean, that is really the one thing I don't have a prediction on what he'll do this offseason. So with the wild card round officially in the books, I'm going to be making my picks for the divisional round. And starting things off, we got Houston traveling to Kansas City. You know what, I was so dead wrong last time. I want to do it again. I genuinely want to get clowned for this pick. I'm taking the Chiefs to win this one 35-21. You heard me right. Different team, same score. Expect Mahomes, his pass catchers, dark magic, and officiating to go off. Moving on to the Lions hosting the Commanders. I predicted the Commanders to bring their wildcard game down to the wire. And if there's any other squad that is bold enough to go for it on 4th down, it's Detroit. I believe this will be the game with the most 4th down conversions in NFL history. This is going to be a full-on offensive shootout. When it's all said and done, this will be the game Commanders will be brought back down to reality. I mean, come on, I get it. They're underdogs, but dude, this is Detroit at Ford Field. They're winning this one 35-38. Moving on, we got the red-hot Rams going to Philly to take on the Eagles. Now, before the wild card, I had a feeling the Rams were going to face the Eagles in the divisional round, but after what took place on Monday night, it has severely shifted my predictions for this matchup. This is going to be a defensive chess game. If that same defensive front can stuff Saquon in the running game, we got a solid chance. And I know for a fact Eagles fans are going to bring back what took place on Week 12. Between then and now, both teams have changed significantly. In the past 5 meaningful games, the Rams have limited their teams to under 10 points. If the run game's not established, this will be a close game. And when it comes to close games, I'm taking LA to pull the upset, 27-21. And closing out the divisional round, we got the finale between Buffalo versus Baltimore. This is going to be their Super Bowl and probably the most entertaining game this whole playoffs. The squad that comes out of this game with a W will come out with this year's MVP and would most likely get bounced by the Chiefs. Bro, I can't choose, bro. I just can't. I mean, these guys were supposed to be the Avengers taking out the Chiefs. How is this fair, bro? What is this, Civil War? Honestly, screw it. I'm gonna flip a coin. Bills are heads, Ravens are tails. Well, there it is. Ravens take this one 27-24. And that's going to wrap up my picks for the divisional round. Be sure to follow me on IG and Twitter. Make sure you guys sub to the channel for more football takes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.